For purposes of the record, we're delayed in starting this evening because we had a committee of the whole meeting that ran over time on a number of issues, so we're going to get started here tonight. Chair would like to call to order the regular monthly meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Lake Barrington. It is Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023. It is now 7:25 p.m. and I will ask the clerk if she would please call the roll.
President Richardson?
Here.
Trustee Burke?
Here.
Trustee Hayes?
Here.
Trustee Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee Scholler?
Here.
Trustee Schoenhauser?
Here.
Trustee Van Ryn?
Here.
Okay, would you please all rise and join me in the pledge of allegiance to our flag? I never start until you're ready. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I trust everyone's had a chance to kind of take a peek at the minutes, but agenda item 4 is approval of the minutes from our regular meeting of last month, December 6, 2022. Are there questions or edits for the clerk relative to the draft minutes? With which she does a spectacular job every time. There being none, Chair would like a motion to approve agenda item 4A, the minutes of the Board of Trustees meeting December 6, 2022. May I have that motion?
So moved.
Thank you by Trustee Scheller. Second, please.
Second?
By Trustee Perkins. Thank you both. Clerk will please call the roll.
Trustee Scholler?
Yes.
Trustee Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee Burke?
Yes.
Trustee Hayes?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenhauser?
Yes.
Trustee Van Ryn?
Yes.
President Richardson?
Yes. I trust everyone had nice holidays. Our Irish won over South Carolina. So my brother-in-law owes me dinner because he's a USC alum. Our former colleague and our dear friend Jim Thompson's Georgia Dogs had a good day. Clemson Tigers didn't come out so well, I'm afraid, but it was fun watching football and not shaving for 2 weeks and wearing sweatpants. So glad we're all back. I am leaving to go to Washington, D.C. for the annual winter meeting of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. I will leave on the 17th and come back on the 20th. As is my practice, I do not have the village pay for any of the travel expenses, although the village does pay for the conference fee. Beyond that, I don't have anything else to add in the President's remarks. So agenda item 6 this evening is the first opportunity in the agenda for the public to address the board on non-agenda items. There is no one from the public here this evening, so we can move to agenda item 7, which is the consent agenda. 7A, B, and C, and Chair will yield to the administrator for quick comments as we reviewed this previously.
Okay. The employee manual update, it's been updated to reflect a 7.5-hour workday versus the previous 32.5-hour workday, or work week, I should say, for regular full-time village employees. The next one. The Featherling Park trail paving. The trail is currently just fine aggregate and eroding in some places, and we received a very good proposal from our friends at Cuba Township Road District in the amount of $28,260 to pave that trail. So I'm looking to get that approved, that expenditure, and they think they could be done by May 1st, weather, permitting, to do that with this current year's budget. And the last item, the village administrator position description, that's a code update. Recently, Trustee Hayes had pulled the village board and staff and myself about tweaking and updating that, especially in light of the current search for the new village administrator upon my retirement in May. So that reflects those changes that previously people had given away.
Questions for the administrator on any of the agenda items listed under agenda item 7? If not, Chair would like a motion to first approve ordinance number 2023-0-1. Thank you. An ordinance amending Chapter 6, Municipal Officers and Employees of Title I, Administration, adoption of amended and restated Employee Policy Manual. B, motion to allow the village administrator to execute a contract with Cuba Township Road District in an amount not to exceed $28,260. Further, to authorize the village administrator to expend a contingency amount of up to 10%, $2,826 to cover any additions or changes due to unforeseen conditions, and authorize the village administrator to execute the necessary documents. C, motion to approve ordinance number 2023-0-2. An ordinance amending Chapter 6, quote, Municipal Officers and Employees of Title I Administration. Chair would like a motion to approve in block agenda items 7A through C as stated.
So moved.
By Trustee Schalmoser, thank you.
Second.
Thank you by Trustee Perkins, thank you both. And clerk will call the roll, please.
Trustee Schalmoser.
Yes.
Trustee Perkins. Yes. Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Hayes.
Yes.
Trustee Schaller.
Yes.
Trustee Van Ryn.
Yes.
President Richardson.
Yes, thank you. Agenda item 8 is the treasurer's report. Mrs. Search.
We have the financial statements for 7 months ended November 30th in front of you, November 30th, 2022. You'll see we have assets at $5,243,000. Our liabilities at $1,709,000. Our equity is at $3,534,000. Revenues come out to net income of $694,000. Year to date, we have $177,000 extraordinary expenses. When we pull that out, you'll see our operations net income and loss from regular operations is $871,000 compared to this point last year of $893,000. So just a small difference, about 2% lower than last year. The big thing we've talked about each month is building permit revenue is now down $144,000 from last month. Once again, is being made up by increases in tax revenue, which is good. Most notably, sales tax is up about $47,000 or 10%. And more interesting than that is that of our 40 top businesses, all but 2 are showing increases over last year. And for our overall increase, about 60% is from our local villages, and only the other 40% is from online sales. So our business park is really pulling strong in the sales tax department. No other comments there. If we flip forward to pages 10 and 11 of the budget actual report, you'll see our revenues are about 60% actual to budget, and our expenses at 42% actual to budget. Nothing trending out of the ordinary. A few items in the expense category will be over budget for the year. Nothing to really worry about. One was the addition of the boardroom microphone system, which we added after the budgeting process was completed. And then miscellaneous expenses up, not concerning. It has to do with the combat grant. We received the money for the grant work last year, and this year the expenses are going through miscellaneous expense. I don't really have much to mention. Everything's really within the ordinary, so to speak. Any questions on the general fund before I move on? Okay, we can go to the motor fuel tax fund. Everything good in there as planned. To date, we have $93,000 in net current assets. We are done spending money in that fund for the year. We'll save money in there for a couple of years and then spend it once again on road work in a couple of years. Page 16, the water sewer fund. There's net current assets of approximately $1.7 million. Nothing to mention, everything's running as planned in that fund to date. There was a small repair of a service pump, but nothing out of the ordinary in those accounts, in those funds. So a pretty boring month. I have the accounts payable warrants to review if we're ready to move on to the accounts payable. All right, so the invoice is done on warrant A. The first one to note is Fresh Coat Painters, and that is for $5,834.59, and that was painting of the offices and the conference room. HR Green for $6,534.02, and that was for work related to the Kelsey Road bike path project. HR Green for $32,838.65, and that's engineering work related to the Hillview Hillside Drive project. State Graphics, $2,565.28. That was for the winter newsletter, which you should all have received. And then in the Water Sewer Fund, Illinois Pump Inc., that was for $10,065.96. That was for the maintenance on the high service pump I just referred to in the water sewer fund. And then lastly, on warrant B, I'm only mentioning the sheriff's office invoice for $59,728.30 for January services. I mentioned that because it's our first one of the new contract. It's up about 25% from prior months, but we knew that was coming. And then lastly, Cuba Township Road for $6,089.10. I won't mention these going forward. That's our first salt usage bill. So that was just for the month of December. It was about $6,000 for salt usage in December. So that's all I have to mention. Any questions? I can answer any questions. Anyone has questions?
Are there questions for the treasurer? Okay, thank you.
Peggy, did you get that microphone?
Oh.
Right.
A quick and quiet start, that's a nice thing to start. So disorganized here, apologies. With that, Chair would like a motion to approve in block agenda items 8A through C. A, approve the financial statements as of November 30, 2022. B, pay bills in the amount of $195,257.02 as listed on the accounts payable warrant A dated January 3rd, 2023. And C, pay bills in the amount of, help me here, Lisa, please.
$176,495.28.
Thank you. As listed on the accounts payable warrant B dated today, correct?
Correct.
January 3, 2023. Wonderful. May I have a motion to approve it, moved by trustee Burke, may I have a second?
Second.
By trustee Van Ryn. Thank you both very much. Clerk, will please call the roll.
Trustee Burke.
Yes.
Trustee Van Ryn.
Yes.
Trustee Hayes.
Yes.
Trustee Perkins.
Yes.
Trustee Schaller.
Yes.
Trustee Schalmoser.
Yes.
President Richardson.
Yes, thank you. Agenda item 9, the administrator's report.
Sure, just a couple things to report. I used the quiet time between Christmas and New Year to start working on the village's ADA self-evaluation plan. The self-evaluation plan is, basically it's the public entity, which would be us, the village, assessment of everything, including any public infrastructure, whether it be our parking lot, our village hall, anything that's open to the public area, and any current policies and practices. You'll note that I just removed the 2 front chairs to allow more easily for a wheelchair to be in the front. So this is a plan that actually was required to be passed by the village within 1 year of the passage of the act, which was back in 1992. And I could not locate such a plan, so I thought, hey, I'll write one. I started on it last week and doing some measurements and things like that, and eventually morph into a plan and an action plan for anything that we might find that's not in compliance. So, and then just to follow up on Treasurer Hirsch's report about the ComEd grant, I also spent a little bit of time last week, closed it out and submitted it. So it's all off on its way to open lands, and hopefully they'll approve it in the future. And I think we had 67 cents left in the grant, so we spent it all except for 67.
Do we have to give that back?
Yeah, we'll see if they ask for it back. So that's it. Any questions?
Wonderful, thank you. Agenda item 10, the clerk's report.
Thank you. If you are signed up for e-news, you will have received a notice about the free live Christmas tree pickup already. But those of you who haven't, Waste Management is doing Christmas tree pickup on the 16th for single-family homes and the 18th for LBS residents. And also, Cuba Township is also doing it this week and next week. And you can call Cuba Township to schedule that. Take care of your Christmas tree earlier. And the second thing is Village Hall will be closed for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. That is on Monday, January 16th. And I think it's somebody's birthday the day after that.
Are there questions for the clerk? Okay, agenda item 11 is reports of the standing committees. A, Brandon Communications, trustee Van Ryn.
We have some very good news to report. On the communication front, 2 of our key channels through which we communicate with our residents include our e-newsletter, which Lisa just mentioned, and LinkedIn. We have other channels as well, including our website and others, but these are the 2 that we're keeping a close eye on and promoting. Looking at a 3-month trend, in November, we had 348 subscribers, verified users for the e-newsletter, 348. Last month, we had 349. This month, 366.
Well,
Nice increase, and Lisa's promoting it with new residents, which is huge, so thank you so much, Lisa. On the LinkedIn front, back in November, we had 89 connections on LinkedIn, 89 followers to our page. Last month, we had 101. We're up to 113 on LinkedIn. So nice growth on both fronts, very exciting. We'll continue to promote those. We've also been in touch with Russell from the Daily Herald, who we had some communication with earlier last year, and let him know about the recruitment going on for our new village administrator. And he likes the story and plans to cover it in the spring. So hopefully we'll get some nice coverage about the village later this year. That's it for me.
Questions for trustee Van Ryn? It's very exciting to see all this good stuff happening. 11B, economic development, trustee Burke.
Thank you. A quick comment about COVID-19 and the previous task force that we deactivated a number of months ago. Administrator Dalton Lang was kind enough to send to me a note that she received that Lake County Emergency Operations Center that was dedicated to COVID-19 has also been shut down. Since the expiration of the local emergency declaration, so they no longer see a need to exist. But they will remain available. They will be continuing to do things like distributing personal protective equipment and other stuff as needed, and to answer questions and whatnot. But part of the overall wind down, just as things thankfully have resumed to almost normal at this time. Just wanted to mention that. And they're going to do kind of what their own postmortem on how effective were they, which is something that we really should do with our COVID-19 task force as well. We haven't really done that formally yet, but that's something that I think I'll seek some input from people on. Because if we like the model, then it's one that we can recreate and use for whatever comes our, whatever type of crisis we may face. If we have a model for putting together a team very quickly to address those, I think it's one that we want to capture. So I'll be getting with people about that. Last month, as you know, Paul Maloney was in here with his team giving a presentation on their plans for the Kelsey Roadhouse. Since then, lots of conversations. Thank you, Karen, in hand-holding and help moving the process along. There is a zoning board appeals meeting on the 12th, right, Karen?
Correct.
That will address this because of the zoning variation on the setback that they're requesting. One of the things that I'm really excited and happy about is there's been really nice outreach to the surrounding community. A lesson learned from Speedway is getting way out in front of news. So all the surrounding neighbors and communities have been told about the plan, have been told about the upcoming zoning board of appeals, and we've actually proactively sought input. We don't want to wait for people to show up here with, pitchforks and torches to say this is all bad and wrong. We want to find out, and I'm happy to say to you, and then we're doing that a couple of ways. We're doing some personal stuff. Karen's reached out to the immediate neighbors, and I'm happy to say that one neighbor has not responded, meaning we hadn't anticipated a response, and they've not raised any issues. And the other neighbor, where we anticipated some issues, there have been none. In fact, that person seems very excited and in support of the upgrades and things that are gonna happen to the property. I think the thing that we learned, and I spoke with Jeff Williams, who chairs our plan commission, who happens to live in Pheasant Ridge. He's playing double duty because he's working with, and discussing informally with his neighbors, thank you, Jeff, very much, about any question or concerns they have. You know, the brilliance of talking with Jeff and knowing what things are on his neighbor's mind, he says, Andy, if we lead with, I have great news, the Kelsey Roadhouse is going to be sold potentially, and it's going to remain the Kelsey Roadhouse. And he said, that's gonna take care of 99% of people's concerns because they thought it was gonna be a Walgreens or a Walmart or a truck stop or a, Lord only knows what they thought could go in that spot. So overwhelmingly, the community is thrilled that it's remaining Kelsey Roadhouse, and like we are thrilled, they're all like, oh no, this place is a landmark. And we're glad somebody wants to give it the TLC it needs. So when we discuss the other issues, honestly, there hasn't been any real concerns raised at all about the change in the liquor license or the issue related to the setback variance that's being requested. So I think that's really good news. And so hopefully when we do have a ZBA meeting, that it goes relatively smoothly because we've anticipated the questions and we're providing all this information back to Mr. Maloney so that he's well aware of the conversations. In fact, he's actually going to, as a result of this, a couple of neighbors said they would really like to meet with him and learn more about what his plans are, and he has accepted, agreed, and we put people together, Karen has via email. So he's actually following up on his own with some of these people who just simply have questions about what his plans are. So I think this is wonderful that Mr. Maloney is doing that and that the neighbors see, are interested in engaging him. So I give a lot of credit to Karen on this. She's done a lot of the work in the background, and I'm really excited about that. So the other issue, as we know, you heard Treasurer Hirsch talk about tax revenue being strong. If you read the Daily Herald, which I do, my wife kind of chuckles at me, but I'm like, it's all about the pages on local government. It's like I don't care about anything else. And, they have been running a series of articles about a couple of things. One, how many of the municipalities are doing quite well financially through COVID, and they list a number of reasons, stimulus that's out there, government monies that's out there, et cetera, and also their ability to sort of contract some of their operations at a time where they can actually save money. So a number of villages are seeing themselves put in a favorable position. What I found interesting about the article, that also, not unlike President Richardson said to us today, recognize that, reminding people these are short-term windfalls and these are not forever. And so making sure that these villages are continuing to be good stewards with the taxpayers' money. Running parallel to that has been a series of articles about general fund balances, which I also found really interesting. I don't know how many of you read those, but all it really said to me is I found it interesting that the Herald, is digging at that, and they're kind of raising the question, how little is too little and how much is too much? And certainly, they're well aware of both ends of that spectrum. They didn't come right out and say they believe it should be this and every village is different, but they certainly are saying we're watching, we're aware, and we're scrutinizing the way villages manage taxpayer money, right? And keeping too much for a rainy day, a couple of years worth of operating expenses, unless you have a planned capital project on your books, is probably excessive. You're probably keeping and continuing your tax levies at the same rate is probably excessive. So I just thought it was interesting that there's been a lot in the paper locally. And the reason I say that is not so much to you, but that means our residents are reading this stuff, right? And it's educating them. And that's good. It's educating them because we would love it if they walked in here and asked us about our budget, asked us about what our strategy is on general fund balances or any of the other things that we're doing, because
And we've had it for 20 years.
right, and we've had that for a long time. So it's great when you're reading stuff and you realize you're kind of sitting in the sweet spot. And as I said to Karen a few days ago, Karen, don't you love it when a plan comes together? And she said, yes, I do. Let's see. And that's actually, that's my report. That's it, thank you.
Thank you. Questions for trustee Burke? Now 11C, just to reiterate, I'm attending the U.S. Conference of Mayors meeting in about 2 weeks in Washington, D.C., and I'll report back next month. 11D, Finance, HR, and Administration, trustee Hayes.
Yeah, good evening. Just a reminder, Karen's position is now open, so it's really for the public, but it is posted out there on HR.gov. HR.gov is our vendor, and if you need anything more, you can certainly come to the village, and we can get you a LinkedIn if you're interested in applying. So trying to get a broad amount of people to apply for Karen's position. Likewise, next month at the next meeting, we'll have a new contract for Karen, the administrator, entering this fiscal year, and other matters relating to staff. That'll be on the agenda next month. I have nothing else to report tonight.
Thank you. Questions for trustee Hayes? If not, 11E, Roads and Infrastructure, trustee Schallmoser.
Thank you, President Richardson. To dovetail off of what Karen Dalton-Blanket said, we're going to be repaving Featherling Park. The ring around the path has become very loose, and it's more like managed mud at this point. And so that will be repaved. Very, very good price was negotiated, $28,000 to $60,000 versus over $50,000. Cuban Township will be doing that. 2 residents, actually, as I was going around getting petitions signed, 2 residents asked specifically about this park. So they are watching, they use it, and they're looking forward to that. So excited to see that develop. Nothing else to report.
Thank you. Questions for trustee Schallmoser? If not, 11F, Public Safety, trustee Schaller.
Thank you, President Richardson. We'll ask Lieutenant Scott Turek to come front and center while he's working his way up to the podium. The Lake County Sheriff's Department does have a new deputy chief. That would be Scott's boss, immediate superior. You remember Chris Thompson was the chief deputy. Most recently, it's been an individual of the name of James McKinney. Effective shortly, we'll have, and I'll work with his name here, Gianni Giamberduca.
Pretty good, yeah, Gianni Giamberduca.
Yeah. He's transitioning and actually will take effect January 6th. He'll be the new deputy chief. And I've been told, and Lieutenant Kirk has reinforced that he will be a lot more visible than perhaps his predecessor, and will reach out and hopefully we'll have an opportunity to meet with him. The notice did say there'll be no change in policies, procedures, or rules of our contract agreement. Continue to work with no disruptions in service. And McKinney said from the very beginning, you've always been valued supporters of the Lake County Sheriff's Patrol Division, and we greatly appreciate that. And we greatly appreciate Lieutenant Scott Curran for attending our meeting, now working afternoon shift. So what's going on in the area?
In the area, as far as the past month, there really were not any notable incidents in Lake Barrington. Trustee, you pretty much stole my thunder. So we've had a number of retirements in command and deputy position as well in recent times. So we're filling those positions. Deputy Chief McKinney is leaving, and Deputy Chief Chamberduca will be installed in his place later this week. So he, in a brief conversation, I've worked with him for over 20 years, but in a recent conversation, he said he wanted to come out and meet everybody. So I don't know if it's going to be next month or the month after that, but we'll try to get him out to a meeting, and I'm sure he'd love to meet all of you. And I think everybody's pretty excited to have him in place, and I think he's going to do good things for the Sheriff's Patrol.
Locally, and according to the report that I had from a couple of months ago, there was 1 residential burglary in Lake Barrington, 1 theft over $500, 2 under $500, 2 identity thefts, and that's still a problem, and identity theft and scams, especially in the holidays, but it's also who reports them. There might be a lot of identity thefts, but if they don't report them, they don't obviously go through the Sheriff's Department. and one child pornography. So, but there is activity, but it's compared to what you see on television every night out of Chicago, we're very fortunate.
Yes, I believe it. It's, yeah, compared to other parts of the county, Lake Barrington's doing pretty well.
Keeping us safe.
Yes. So other than that, if anybody had any comments, I know some of the cases you're talking about, but if you have any specific questions, I can answer those.
Nothing major has been actually.
Correct.
Yeah.
I have a question, any laws that went on the book that maybe you want to be apprised of, that would affect public safety or how we?
I mean, the big thing everybody was gearing up for is everybody knows here was the Safety Act, and that was all put on hold on New Year's Eve, so we're just waiting to see how that turns out.
Okay, thanks.
That was it.
And generally, law enforcement is not too, doesn't advocate what they propose at this point in time, I don't believe, do they?
Whatever laws they put on the books are the
We
laws
enforce.
that we follow
Yeah, okay.
and enforce.
Appreciate it, thank you. As far as the Barrington Countryside Fire Protection District, we talk about the village of Lake Barrington has maintained our tax levy at 0. Well, the Fire Protection District didn't follow suit. They went up 4.9%, and their tax levy total is $7.15 million. But they did open a new station, and they did put up a fire, I think, in a barn over the holidays, so I'm lucky that we have the Fire Protection District. In Wakanda, I don't have any report from them last month, but things have been pretty good under control, and that's my report.
Questions for trustee Schaller? We can move then to agenda item 11G, open space and special events. Trustee Perkins.
Thank you, President Richardson. I have no report this month.
Okay.
Nothing going on.
Agenda item 12, there is no old business. 13, there are no new ordinances. 14, no resolutions. 15, no new business. Agenda item 16, second opportunity in the agenda for the public to address the village board. There is no one from the public seeking such recognition. Ms. Bateman, is there any need for an additional closed session?
There is not.
There is not. There is no other business, so the chair would like a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Burke, seconded by Perkins. Thank you both. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?